Hey, beautiful souls. I hope you're having a great day. And I had somebody message me a question wanting to know how to actually start to feel more safe and stable within the body and mind, and particularly when there's no chaos going on. She'd actually mentioned she was feeling anxiety after a week of no stress or no chaos. And often this is actually because there is unhealed trauma, which has actually now got the space to actually bubble up, be looked at, felt, and also released within the system. But this is not a quick fix by any means. And we have to build our own ability around capacity. And by capacity, I mean the ability to be able to hold ourselves to accept where we're actually currently at, and the ability to feel our emotions without feeling overcome or overwrought by them, because obviously that re-triggers the nervous system. And it can be a delicate balance, which is why I recommend definitely working with a support person, with somebody that has knows a lot about the nervous system, knows a lot about the body's responses, the fight, flight, and the freeze response, because all of those can get activated, obviously when we've got things going on with our body or within our mind. And the four main areas that I would really encourage you to look at, and again, working with somebody that really knows what they're doing in this field, in this area, is absolutely really important, because they can guide you through that as you build your capacity, as you build your resilience to be able to take more things on or sit with and start to process what perhaps has been stored trauma or repressed emotion held within the nervous system. And this is not a quick fix, which is frustrating, right? Like, we just want to get back to feeling good. We want to feel safe within our bodies, safe within our nervous system. But when there's been a lot of stuff in the past that actually hasn't been processed through the body, we're actually holding that in a cellular way within the body. It does take time to move through this, allowing that space to come up. It's one of the reasons why also I used to have a lot of clients come to me, particularly in my kinesiology clinic, that were experiencing anxiety or panic attacks, and they were actually having anxiety about having anxiety simply because there didn't appear to be a reason for them to experience the anxiety or to experience the panic attack. And often it's when we create space, when we have the space within ourselves, then the body is like, oh, finally, now I can start to emotionally and mentally process all these things that happened to me. I know for me personally, there was stuff that came up for me 9 years after one of my relationships ended. It blew me away. 9 years, simply because I did not have the capacity, I didn't have the emotional resilience, and I didn't have the mental or the emotional space to be able to truly process that particular event. Hey Jennifer, great to have you on. And so the body is super smart, right? Like, it literally is there trying to support us, trying to help us survive. So unless we've actually created that space in the first instance, hey Jenny, great to have you on, darling. Unless we've actually been able to create that space, you cannot process a trauma, you cannot process a stressful event whilst you're actually in that event. You may be in the emotions of it, but often there is still processing that needs to be done afterwards. And so this is where working with somebody can be really helpful, because like sometimes we're like, oh my god, I feel terrible today, and yet nothing is going on, nothing should be triggering me, because I'm everything's okay. Why am I feeling the way that I am? So hopefully what I've just mentioned explains some of that, but it's also really important to work with the body physically, knowing what the physical body needs nutritionally, in support. Like, if you're eating high sugar, high fat foods and you're dumping, like, your blood sugar is all over the place, that is going to fry the nervous system. If you're having beliefs and thoughts that aren't serving you, that are perhaps, your inner critic is super loud, and that's one thing that definitely happens with burnout massively, is that inner critic gets super loud, and we get hyper vigilant, we get really triggered by stuff. We tend to take things really personally. So, again, having somebody to work through those mental thoughts, those mental beliefs that are coming up, that are really impacting you, we can be our own worst enemy when it comes to that, and it is pro-survival. It's one of the things I also teach in my program is how to understand that your inner critic is actually your best friend. It's trying to help you survive, but it's no longer doing it in a resourceful way. And then, emotionally, how do we regulate the emotions? How do we regulate our nervous system where it's firing off the adrenaline, the cortisol, all of those things that is making us feel anxious, or, there's a lot of stuff going on internally. Let me know if this resonates, share some love or likes as well. And also tag anybody that this may be really, really supportive for. The last thing that I would also say is spiritually, we have to come back to that place of connection in order to heal the body. This is where being in nature, reorientating ourselves, coming back to the present moment through our breath, through noticing sensations, tuning into the sensations within the body, looking at what's going on in our external environment, and making sure that we are in a safe environment as well. It's very difficult to heal the body if you feel that you're not safe or you can't fully be yourself with people that you're living with or people that you're around quite often. Again, that is going to trigger the nervous system quite a lot as well. So really understanding these things is key to actually healing the nervous system and healing our body and mind, because again, when that nervous system is in that fight flight response, or perhaps it's in the freeze response, the freeze response can be really challenging because we may know that we're not feeling okay. We might feel deeply lethargic, deeply depressive, or those depressive type emotional states. And feel like, we want to make these changes, but feel really stuck, really paralyzed, and really resistant to doing anything. And that's often because we're stuck in that freeze response. And people can be stuck in these emotional states, these nervous system responses for years, not just like moments. Like we and I don't want to use the word should, but, in a healthy functioning nervous system, we experience the stress, our system, responds to that stress, and then we de-escalate the nervous system afterwards. But with a lot of experiences that people may have had either through trauma or childhood experiences, and even later on in life, there can be all of these events that create the system to be locked on or held on in these particular states, be it the freeze response or be it in that hypermobilization, hypervigilance of never feeling safe, feeling like we're blindly running or we're pushing, we've got to get everything done, we can't stop, we can't rest, we can't breathe. Like there's that real hyped up, which can feel addictive. I know for myself personally, it felt very adrenalized. I felt very empowered actually in that state because I could just get so much done because there's so much adrenaline running through my system, but to the point where it led me to massive burnout because the body cannot sustain that state of being, that way of being for such a long time. And often we see obviously the effects of cortisol driving inflammation, creating massive chronic disease or illness or adrenal fatigue, burnout, cancer, osteoporosis, arthritis, fibromyalgia, just to name a few of the big, obviously, illnesses that can be created through this chronic locked on nervous system state. So if this really resonates for you, if you're looking to speak to somebody that really understands this, that knows what's going on at the deeper level, and if you would like to be able to get some more understanding about perhaps where you're currently at, what you're experiencing, and see if and how I may be able to help you, this is my absolute specialty. It's something I'm very passionate about, particularly for women, simply because we don't always really understand what's actually going on at the deeper level, and having somebody with that deeper insight that can really support us through that healing and put us on the right track to really set us up for success moving forward in taking care of all of those 4 areas, the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, feeling connected to yourself again, feeling connected to life again, feeling connected to others again, is really what helps us create that beautiful, fulfilling life where we're showing up, we feel naturally able to be who we fully are as our most authentic self. So if that's you, send me a PM, let's chat and see how I may be able to support you, or just even give you 1 or 2 quick tips around some things that you can also do around that. But if you're ready, you're committed, you know that this is something that you really need to look at and to heal within yourself, please reach out. I'd love to chat to you. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye for now.